Hello, everyone, and welcome to round number 3 of the Ledgestone Insurance Open presented by Grip. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, along with Paul Ulibarri. And Paul, as they say, we're out of the woods and we're heading over here to Eureka disc golf course, a temporary course that's now become a permanent fixture in the hearts and minds of so many players around the world. And immediately, right off the bat, we get going on hole number 1 with a long water carry, and kind of crazy to see. This is sixth card. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean the players on this card, this could be the only tournament that they play on the 6th card all year. That's the caliber that we're going to be looking at, which is great for you and I. We get to see a lot of good shots, hopefully. But starting off with this first hole, I mean, it's crucial to land this in bounds and get yourself off to a good start. You're going to want to probably force an overstable disc on Anheuser over to the right, let it flex back, something that doesn't go too far. I don't think you're going to have to worry about a lot of these guys going in the water, honestly.
Listening to the call from Mark.
And
no, to be fair, everyone, Paul cannot hear the commentary coming in, but we hear the call from Mark. And as you mentioned, though, McBeth on the tee, he's 5 under after we saw him during his second round at the Northwood course, and flips that over, and that's way over in safe territory as Mark's going to make the call for Paul Ulibarri here in a moment.
From Evansville, Indiana, Paul Ulibarri.
And Tall Paul is there a more special, friendly, unique individual out there on the tour?
I mean, if there is one, he's on this card, and his name's James Conrad. So
that's a great way to put it. And just when you think he's giving you a warm-up, that's his nice, fluid, smooth delivery. We'll watch that land, and here comes the next call.
Virginia, James Conrad.
And as you mentioned, another lanky, friendly fella in James Conrad. Which James throwing here? Is this a T-Bird or Destroyer, probably?
This is actually, I believe, a Thunderbird. James, known for his long run-up.
Also, easily clearing the water, and listening for the last announcement.
And from Little Canada, Minnesota, Cale Leiviska.
Really throwing people off when Mark tells us that he's from Little Canada, Minnesota. He's got that Minnesota nice along with that Canada composure and demeanor as well. Cale Leiviska, one of the greatest in the game.
Yeah, everybody knows of Cale as being one of the smoothest, most in-control players, like you said, in the game and maybe of all time. Like, this guy's resume just keeps getting longer and longer.
So everyone is safe. You called that, no problem. And when you're approaching here on 1, how delicate is this shot, knowing that there's water looming behind the basket when you're throwing uphill?
It's not really that difficult, honestly. It's because these guys are throwing it so far. You're looking at 150, 200 foot approach. And so a lot of times what happens is people turn it over a bit too much off the tee, and they're way down to the right, and then it plays a bit farther. But these guys have done a really good job of putting themselves in position to kind of just pitch it up the hill. So this is one of the basic shots right here.
Let's see, Oman is just about pin high. James is going to be awarded with the longest drive and the closest to the pin here. You see a pretty simple approach shot, even though that footing's got to be a little bit awkward, kind of walking up on the side of a hill.
Yeah, I mean, he's only about 150 feet away, though. these guys are going to get off to a really good start. I mean, these are all pretty much in the range of every competitor to knock these down. I think Paul Oman has a little left here, but
Oman taking his time to get things started. That's maybe a little too much time. Might have been overthinking that one.
yeah, a little nervous, you know, a little too much time, like you said. He's got a stat card he has to deal with, but he's no stranger to, you know, lead cards, especially I believe he's from Indiana, and he's probably the best player from Indiana.
Yeah, he's when people think about your best players in the Midwest, Paul always comes to mind. He's, you know, been on and off the tour. He's not quite as heavily of a traveler as, say, a James or a Paul McBeth, but he's certainly a fixture out there and solid performer. And hole number 2 is not easy. Is that a fair way to put it?
That's a very fair way to put this hole. Especially if you know, the first shot really sets up well for a power left to right shot. You're going to see McBeth, I believe, go roller here.
Yeah, and you just need it to curl, obviously, before it finds the water, and I think that's exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's just absolutely perfect right in the middle of the fairway, which he made it look easy. It is not.
Conrad just playing a turnover. It stays. Well, actually, it looks like it got hung up, you know, by one of the branches there that you just have to beat and come underneath. Talk about the angle control, because something cuts, it could easily find itself OB.
Absolutely. So you saw him throw a mid-range there, and I believe Cale's going to throw something similar to where it holds that angle to the right, because you have that slope that kind of moves from right to left, which your disc is going to, even if it's understable, it's going to want to come out and kind of go down and use that hillside to pull it down to the left, which is what makes the backhand that much more difficult. So to answer your question, yes, angle control is everything. It's even more important than having the right power.
Real gentle turn, maybe a little bit short, but you know, sits down exactly, you know, in line with where he had put it. This hole is 615 feet.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't get too ambitious with the backhand, because if it does come back out, you're risking going too far as well.
And that one, I don't know if the wind, I mean, you see that the wind is kind of blowing in his face, and if that just lifted and then made it hyzer out on him, but James putting one out in the water.
Again, same problem with this shot, as you're basically throwing the same tee shot. You know, you just have to be a little bit more accurate. You have these trees to deal with, but even if you get to the green and you hit those trees, you've had a successful mission.
And this green is no joke, as it is very close to the water's edge.
Again, angle controls everything right here.
Perfect shot. No more than 8 or 10 feet past the pin, just coming up short of the OB water.
Yeah, you're not going to see a lot of backhands get that close. The player is actually trying to turn it over by these 2 trees on the right. See that pine tree? And if you can get to there, usually you have like a little neely tough putt. Is Neely a thing?
Neely Dan, I think he's it was a great, you know, musical artist.
Guy?
Yeah, Neely Dan.
Yeah.
Cale just real delicate setting that one down. Oh yeah.
Beautiful putt there from James from all of 55 feet.
Yeah, we take another look at it from the other side, and that lunging forward, and you know, talk about turning that OB stroke and then still being able to walk away with a par. Very impressive.
Yeah, maybe more like 45.
Hey, I'd give him 55 all day. I mean,
Might as well.
here's McBeth from just outside the circle. A little bit of headwind.
And this is your typical spot that you'll see most people putting from, because if you push past, then you have the power to do what James did, to where it's going to kind of come out with that power. But that's a controlled shot that he landed right over there, and somehow Oman stays safe.
Yeah, and I'm going to chime in with a little bit of a teachable moment here in terms of the rules. Anytime you are near an out of bounds line, have someone else from your card come over and verify that you're in bounds, because the rule states that if you don't do that, they could just assume you are actually OB. So anytime you're close, you always say to someone else on your card, hey, come check this out. I want you to see that I'm in bounds, especially when it's kind of guarded like he was there. So is that a fair teachable moment, Paul?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you'll cost yourself many strokes if you're not going to do that, because if I don't see it and nobody else sees it, I'm stroking you.
And some of the best seats in the house are, well, they're out on the lake. So we go over to hole number 3. Average is 2.99 at just 260 feet. Plenty of trees, and then that sidewalk on the left can come into play, can't it?
Oh, absolutely. So you have these 3 routes right there: on the left, on straight, and then to the right. The straight one's the one you want to hit. You might see a few guys kind of test the waters over the sidewalk with a sidearm, but probably not with this group. I think everybody's just going to go straight at it and hope for the best. But one baby little kick off those trees to the left and you're out of bounds.
McBeth going right up the I was going to say the right side gap. How about a right side gap? Is probably a better way to put that. Pick one and execute.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell the viewer, I'm gonna bet you this: all these guys are aiming at that left side. They might pull it through the right side gap, but you're aiming at the left side to try to flip it up, because your miss usually with a righty backhand is to pull the shot. It's not very often you see these guys miss left early.
Oman hitting the Disc Golf Pro Tour pole koozie, trademark Terry Miller, pole koozie. Nice, gentle approach for him, no problem. And unfortunately, Conrad hits early. And a little flip up.
Beautiful. Oh, caught a little something.
Oh, no, yeah, at the last second. Just by inches, that one is out of bounds by Cale after a little bit of a nasty kick.
And then back to my point, the reason why I say that they pull it is because then you're having a calculated miss kind of work out in your favor, which James did not have there.
No, and he's trying to do some work here. He's still outside circle 1, probably closer to the circle 2's edge. So
he just made one of those, but that one doesn't find the chains.
Yeah, and I'll say it's kind of awkward or unusual is a better word, that he takes a 4 without going out of bounds. I mean, 4s here aren't that uncommon, but rarely is it a 4 without going OB.
Yeah, but that's the nature of this hole. If you hit early like he did, it is tricky to get up and down. And if you do try to get a little bit aggressive, you can kick out of bounds and take doubles. So it was probably a calculated bogey that he took there.
Cale manages to save the par after just barely going out of bounds. McBeth's putter in the first 3 rounds, or in the first 3 holes, I should say, of this round is looking very good. He seems to be really dialed in. Maybe a little bit of a change from what we saw at Northwoods, where we saw some uncharacteristic short putts that he missed, and Oman's got the little tappy tap.
Yeah, to go birdie for McBeth and Oman.
Yeah,
I
very
believe
impressive.
that's tough to do. I mean, that's a really great start.
So hole 4 is 423 feet. 7th most difficult hole on the course, averaging 3.29. OB, of course, that same sidewalk on that right-hand side the whole way down.
Yeah, so you're going to want to take it through the left side gap and have something just kind of barely drift to the right and then get back to the wood line on the left. Anything that you pull to the right side better be extremely stable because that sidewalk actually comes in very tight to what you would think would be the middle of the fairway right here.
Yeah, it's really deceptive as we watch this come in, and I think that's going to be left, and it actually drifts and finds itself right and over the OB sidewalk on that right side.
And that's a perfect example of what I'm saying is you think it looks perfect and it's too far right.
Great touch by Leiviska. And that was pretty much straight and then just gently faded left the whole way. Reading that almost perfectly. James with a putter. And maybe trying to play a little bit of almost of a turnover, but it doesn't look like it filters all the way through. So he's going to have a little work to do. McBeth, short of the hillside, how difficult is it to approach to this basket being this far back?
It's quick. It is really, really quick and easy to leave it short, easy to leave it long, hard to leave it parked. And that's just well executed from McBeth right there.
Good speed and then a little tree love to stop him right where he wanted to be.
Even from where James is right there, that's not easy at all in any way to even get out from there. There's a lot of little tiny trees. Is Cale feeling ambitious right here?
Yeah, this is... He asked for it to sit down. I was going to say that's almost a dangerous spot because you don't want to lay it up, but there can be a lot of trouble if you let one get away from you.
Oh, extremely dangerous. It's like the worst spot to be because then you have to bogey it.
Well, oh, that needs to sit down, and he's waiting. Yeah, it does. But that's where I was thinking about James. It's almost a blessing if you're out of position because you're like, okay, just get it near the basket and walk away with a 3. You know what I mean? Like you're not even tempted at that point.
No, exactly. Paul misses the par putt from being out of bounds over there, and then he's left with this.
Which, you know, all things considered, 7th most difficult hole, we said, averages 3.29. You know, if there's a hole where you're like, hey, I'm going to take a 4, I feel like a lot of people would be okay with taking a 4 here.
A lot of people have to take a 4 here. There's no option.
That's true. That's true. It's not really up for a debate. And McBeth taps in. Easy par, stress-free in his case. And we move over to the famous baseball diamond hole. We've seen hearts broken. We've seen some magic and aces, whether it's Barsby or a near ace by McBeth. This one you got to really get ready to play, don't you?
Absolutely. And we've also seen 10s. So this is not an easy hole either. I mean, these guys have the power to clear, and it's basically how aggressive do you want to be? We know how aggressive McBeth is, not wants to be. He's just very aggressive player in this.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, yeah, fat part of the fairway. He's in good shape.
Yeah, his 6-footer should work for him, and Cale's going to hang it out a lot wider, a little bit safer. But again, you can't be mad with a shot that's that far out, but still in bounds.
No, my description of McBeth's tee shot was meant for Cale's there. So that's fat part of the fairway. There wasn't too aggressive. He's obviously playing for par. And par is not a score to be ashamed of on this hole.
James asking for it to go. Does it push enough? and it comes up just inches short and out of bounds.
So easy to do if you don't get the height right, and that nose gets up a little bit. All of a sudden, the way that the hole is shaped, that's probably 500 distance to clear where he was.
We'll see if Oman. That looks like a really good shot. The question is, does it stay up and over the fence? And no problem. Probably about 80 feet from the pin.
Now for more Jameses, this is stock hyzer, so probably playing about 350 feet. It's not that short of a shot, honestly. But whatever your most stable disc is, put it out wide, let it drift in.
And he hits the left side fence. And I was just thinking, that's not an easy shot from where he is. You still have OB on the right and left and behind the basket to, that's somewhere in your mind of like, hey, I can't just throw this wherever I want.
No, but like I said, you can take your most stable disc out, kind of throw it hard, and really control. That's your most controlled shot probably in your entire bag. So
a long run that grabs the pedestal. This is James for bogey.
Left to right cross. Looks like he got the nose down, and that's going to drop quickly.
So Cale, stress-free par, and McBeth, just a park job.
That's crazy good. I mean,
yeah.
I've never thrown a drive that got that close on this basket. And it seems like he does it every time.
It is the third most difficult hole on the course, averaging 3.63. And so literally only a dozen or so birdies, with McBeth being one of them. And we head over to one of the longest holes on the course. In fact, I think this might be the third longest or so. Second most difficult. It's now a par 4 with OB everywhere. How in the world do you attack this one?
Seems like this is trending in our sport. Old par 5s becoming new par 4s. And this is, you throw a flip up hyzer that takes over this out of bounds on the right, drifts back in, and then if you have the power, do the same shot again. A lot of people don't. So like watch Cale here. He will put it into position, but then from there he's probably going to have to cut the corner a bit short, lay up, pitch back up there, and take par and be just fine with it.
So as I look at UDisc, and of course thanks to them, this averages 4.63. So my question to you is this really a par 5 in disguise? I mean, is this an easy par 5 or is this a tough par 4?
It is an easy par 5, I think. I think if you do get the 3, it should be an eagle, but sometimes there's tough par 4s out there, This is one of them.
Conrad.
I personally do usually go for it depending on the wind, so it's definite, and I'm not known as being one of the farthest throwers on tour. So if you get yourself into position on the first shot, it's definitely enticing.
Well, Conrad getting a nice big pull on it. And here's where you're talking about Cale, just really playing good, smart position golf and kind of conceding to the idea of, hey, I'm going to try and walk away from here with a 4 and be totally content with that.
That's Cale's game, though. I mean, if you play against him in any tournament, he's going to not only throw better shots than you, he's probably going to outthink you on the course as well. Like, he is a fabulous golfer.
And then he's better looking, and then he's nicer. Gosh, there's no beating
faster.
This guy.
He's older, but he's actually younger. It's like, wait, what?
It's just not fair.
Hey, calm down.
We'll see what McBeth can do. He's off to obviously a great start here, and he's got to be thinking he's got all the confidence in the world. and he's got strokes to make up at sitting back on the 6th card.
Yeah, you see that light pull to the right? If he gets mid-height with his disc, that should be a pretty good height to kind of come in, make sure to clear the OB.
And that looks like it'll work just fine, and we'll see if this putter can remain hot.
Yeah, this is 885 feet, but the problem is with the tee shot, you can't go straight at the pin. It forces you left, so you can't even get the maybe 400 max distance off the tee. You're still, even if you go a bit farther, you're still left with that 450-foot shot into the green no matter what.
Stress-free. Nice shot by Cale. Oman's about 55.
Which is a really great shot for a par 5.
He's not able to connect. James from 40. Maybe 45.
That needs to sit. That out of bounds deep kind of comes in pretty close on that back side of the green. And there it is.
Yeah, he snuck out just barely. And what a really unforced error there by Conrad. And yeah, I mean, I have to take back everything I just said. I felt like his putter's been so on. And then to watch him step up to a 33-foot putt and not even, I mean, that didn't even think about drawing metal. Like at no point ever.
No, you're right. It looks like
Is there a vortex on the screen?
Yes, the same result for James there. Let's see. Hopefully Paul can just pop this one on the stripe and get out of there.
I mean, James at least had to straddle. I'll give him that. I mean, that was a little tough, but McBeth.
Yeah, but that's the way. It's not like a new thing. McBeth has been struggling obviously in the last round that we saw. He struggled with the putter, and that's tough to fix, overnight. And it looks like even if he keeps trending the way that he's doing right now, he's already having a better putting round than he did that day. So
yeah, and I don't need any McBeth fanboy hate coming my way. I know I'm giving him a hard time. I mean, he still walks away with the par. He's still off to a great start. Don't get me wrong. It's very surprising to see how off that one particular putt was. But
well, it's his fault. He's the one that's a good putter all the time, and
yeah, exactly.
So it's not our fault that he has he's made us used to him making everything, and then when he doesn't, it's just like you said, it's a surprising thing to see.
It's disappointing us. Well, we're going to move to the easiest hole statistically on the course, averaging 2.6, 275 feet. You got to get a birdie here.
You do, but it's not that easy. I mean, it says it's the easiest hole. I mean, this is a tight line, and it's a hole that on a course anywhere else you'd be like, oh, this would be a good birdie to get. You're not really. I mean, there's a whole creek on the left. You take one bad kick and you take a bogey instantly. So this isn't that easy of a hole, even though they're making it look pretty good.
Great shot by Cale inside 10 or 12 feet. McBeth had hit one of the trees and it came out early, and that really just looked like a yank, unfortunately for Paul, right out of his hands. And then he was happy that didn't kick far enough left to find the creek, as you were just mentioning. I mean, that could have went from bad to worse.
Yeah, when I heard that this was playing as you said, the easiest.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 18th most difficult, otherwise known as the easiest.
I was surprised because it's a tough get. It really is.
James doesn't believe you, not with that beautiful putter shot.
No.
So
it's one that you're going to see 3 birdies and maybe a 4, 3 birdies and maybe a 3, or two threes and a couple birds. I just don't believe it. I don't believe the stats.
You just don't lie, bro. And in full disclosure, if we're talking about stats and details, if you didn't catch the previous round, this was obviously, shot in August. It was edited in August, and now we've got this bonus coverage. This is late January of 2021, Yuli, when you and I are doing the coverage. So James has just announced that he's actually now with MVP, and not too much other stuff has changed on this card per se, but just getting it out there for everyone that is confused as to what's going on here with this bonus coverage.
Yeah, and well, I'm sure McBeth now happy that he made that so he doesn't get the Terry Miller bad feedback on the stroke there. Good putt from Paul.
Also, if we're timing this, between that putt that Paul had just made and today, Paul has also managed to pick up a McLaren. So apparently his putting got better.
And if that's any judge of Oman's putt, he still has the minivan. No, just kidding.
So you said Oman unfortunately walks away with the bogey, and we've got 3 birdies. And we're going to move over to hole number 8, which isn't a very far walk, but not an easy tee shot to hit this gap. Just because there's water underneath there. You're in trouble if you miss those trees, or hit those trees, I should say.
No, you're right. But the good thing is most of these players, especially on this card, full power shots are their forte. So hitting that gap, they're all going to be pretty confident in it, I think. I think the only person that's going to be a little bit scared is Oman because he just yanked one on the last hole. So maybe, mentally, if I were to break him down right now, that'd be the tough guy to do. McBeth gets through.
This gap has matured through these last few years, and Cale's going to stare that one down.
If Cale missed that gap, yeah, right.
No, this gap has just really matured. It's widened. It looks really nice. It's definitely hittable. I feel like a couple of years ago, this shot was even more daunting than it is today.
No, you're 100% right. It's definitely gotten used, and as it gets used, limbs get knocked down, and then you're able to do that right there. That would have been good on any year that you played this hole. But yeah, I was wondering if that, like I said, Paul's guy had that little yank job on the last hole. Let's see if he can make the correction, because this is one you can't have really any imperfection in your swing. Get lucky.
Oh, it's
let's go.
That was not a good tee shot, and Paul will own up to that all day long. But he got very fortunate that carried all the way through. That saved him a stroke or 2.
Absolutely. I don't want to say I called it,
but you were right. You were right.
That's now the good thing about that, or the big thing about that when you're playing at this level, is taking those good breaks and then capitalizing. Let's see if he he needs another one of those good breaks, it looks like.
Yeah, I feel like, understandably, just everyone's scared of the water on that left side. So if you're going to miss, you miss to the right. I mean, it's not pleasant over there, but it's better than, losing a disc OB on the left.
Couldn't agree more.
Let's see what McBeth can do. Really set up in great position.
Shank job.
Yeah, that just wasn't good.
Yeah, that left a little bit to be desired.
Conrad, a really big pull. I feel like this sets up so well for a putter shot from him with that much power.
Yeah, this has got a lot of height. It's turning as well. Like you said, I think people are a little bit scared of that left side, and it shows with that tee shot. Here's Cale doing what Cale does. He's like, oh, stress-free again.
Nice little tappy tap.
Well, think about it. He just went par, birdie, par, and on these holes, he's gaining strokes on the whole field with that, because I think this is going to be playing over par as well, along with the last par 4 that we played. So, Cale's executing his game plan to perfection.
Yeah, this averages 4.4 and comes in as the 5th most difficult hole on the course. So almost a half a stroke over par, and you nailed it. You walk away here with a 4, and you're like, okay, I'm picking up the pace on everybody.
Yeah, Paul's elated with a 4, especially after going straight through the branches on the left. Conrad has a lot of courage from there.
Yeah, to be giving it that much of a run and just a bit short, but Oman walks away with the par.
Yeah, looks like no damage done for really anybody.
Yeah, 48% of our field took a par here.
Oh, I guess James did take bogey.
We're going to move over to hole number 9. Also, quite a famous structure here, the bridge hole. And you got to miss. If you're going to miss, you got to miss left, not too far left.
Yeah, definitely left. So you're going to take either, if you want to park this thing, you're going to take stable fairway, take it over the OB on the right and make sure it comes back, or mid-range. If you want to play safe, you take stable fairway and take it out left. So McBeth looks like he's going right at it.
Oh, come on. I thought Joey came at the right time.
Yeah, another 8-footer at most.
This is scary because not only do you have to hit this gap, you have to have perfect distance control. And a lot of times coming out of here, if you can see on the left-hand side, there's a big wood line with a creek and all that stuff. And so it's tough to know exactly what the wind's doing. It looks like Cale gets dropped down a bit short there.
Yeah, he's no more, short than, we'll say, 3 or 5 feet, just barely not clearing that tall grass. And Paul almost rings it up as well. So McBeth and Oman are almost on top of one another there. Let's see how Conrad can come back after the previous bogey. And that's what, is that a putter? Is that a mid?
I'm not gonna guess.
I think it might have been a putter. And we've seen again dreams shattered here from this bridge, from the drop zone. Here's Cale with a putter. All right.
It's a relief to get up and down from the drop zone. It really is. Even though you want to take bogey, when you take on this pin, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to either take a birdie or a bogey, because that's the type of shot you have to throw from the tee, unless you miss a putt.
Yeah, which, just uncharacteristic. Obviously, James so solid and looked to be just a bit low. It almost seems as something's a little off, but, well, we're going to find out more in the back 9, folks. I want to thank Paul Ulibarri for joining me, of course, as a special guest, bringing in this bonus coverage. Thank you to all my Patreon subscribers. Leave a comment and a like below to win something fun. Maybe I'll get some from Discraft to give away, along with Discraft and Ledgestone and Grip Equipment being all your title sponsors here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So, again, Terry Miller, along with Paul Ulibarri, we are through the front 9. Looking forward to you guys joining us when we head to the back. Paul, we'll see you there, buddy.
Later.